From the Southern Hang Studios in Louisville, Kentucky, this is your latest episode of Southern Hang Podcast. We want to thank our listeners because you could listen to this or you could listen to that. You could listen to this or you could listen to that. You can listen to this or you could listen to that. You should listen to this because Sherm tell them.
This is where it's at.
That's right, my man. Hey, what up, fellas? Been like a week or two since we seen each other, man. Everybody been on the road and spring breaking it and hanging out with families and traveling all over the place. How's everybody doing?
Just trying to build a boat, man, with all this rain. Trying to keep the head above water, literally.
Oh yeah. Hey, speaking of, hey, can I do a quick, because this was not part of what I was planning, but I've been following an IG trend where these people are taking the tiny tugboat, Fisher-Price tugboat sandboxes, and then they dump the sand out and they foam fill these tugboats and they turn them into tiny little bitty boats. And so now that's my current obsession on trying to find me a tiny tugboat so that I can take to Rough River and build me this tiny tugboat. So to all our listeners out there, if y'all can help me find a tiny tugboat so I can complete my mission of a goofball tiny boat to play in, but now, being it's flooding in the
world. How's Rowboat gonna feel about this?
That was my thought.
Well, this is gonna be like a Rowboat's the main boat. This is like
a dinghy?
Yeah, it's like the dinghy. It's like a dinghy. It's like a one-man deal. Like literally look up the Fisher-Price tugboat. Like I don't know what you call that trend. And I'm cracking up, and I'm like, oh, I could build this, and I'm gonna build me a little tiny tugboat to goof off with. That you just leave your main boat and you go drive around and goof off and be silly.
So do you put?
I still think what Neil said is where I'm at, man. I think Rowboat is going to be a little jealous. You got like an older dog. You bring this little puppy around, and everybody wants to play with the puppy, and that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to play, and then Rowboat's going to be jealous and feelings are hurt.
All right. I'll have to, I guess I'll take her feelings into consideration. We do already have a kayak. We already have a kayak that we sits on the front of a rowboat. And once we dock, then we drop the rowboat off or we drop the kayak off and then you go goof off.
And everybody's good with that? Rowboat, the kayak, Bolivar, everybody's on the same page?
They've been together since the beginning.
Spotty or whatever.
Yes. Spody, floaty, Dopolic's Bodie. Yeah. Get it together. It flows off the tongue. Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Well, being that we're talking about it, and not that I want to be the long-winded guy here, but Bolivar did not get to have the maiden voyage. So due to the current flooding and levels of water were getting dumped in this area of the country, we kept Bolivar back in the shed and put him back up so that we didn't have to worry about all the flooding and hurricanes and trees being knocked down and all kinds of stuff. So we stayed safe, and the maiden voyage did not happen this week. So bummer.
But you got a little detour and still got to see family. I saw that.
Yes, 100%. Yep. We still went out to Moorhead, cool little town, and got to visit with Tori and see the baby Maeve, and we got a hotel room that sounded safer than living in an RV in the Daniel Boone National Forest when there's 70-mile-per-hour winds coming through. So, But yes, we did get to see the baby and Tori, and had a good time for the day. And then it turned into more of a staycation than our maiden voyage in Bolivar. So, still coming. And if Rough River ever recedes, then maybe we can take Rowboat out and Bolivar so they can meet each other.
Yeah, and see what you do about your little boat you're building.
My tugboat.
Towboat.
Yeah.
Rowboat.
You got to find it. I need somebody to find it for me first, the Fisher-Price tugboat, so that I can start working on that. But shout out to the listeners to help me do some work here, people. Yeah, where's everybody else been? Fire down, fellas. What we got?
We did a little trip up to Newport Aquarium, which if you haven't been for a while, they've got a jellyfish exhibit. Newport up across the river from Cincinnati. Reds were in town, didn't go, but thought about you guys. Actually talked about you guys to a couple people up there as well on because of the baseball trip.
They were playing the Rangers, weren't they? I watched a couple of those games.
They were.
Was that a streak of games where they went 3 straight where they lost 1-0? I don't think you missed much. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
although it was going to be a record. Although apparently there was going to be a record that there's never been a team lose 4 games in a row 1-0. So that's kind of an interesting, weird factoid on baseball.
But more action going on at the aquarium, I think.
There was sharks, jellyfish exhibit, all good. Penguins, all good stuff.
Gotta love the penguins.
Gotta love penguins.
Really, all of the Newport Aquarium. I like that whole area down there. That whole area's got some cool stuff. There's you can bounce between a whole bunch of cool little things to check out.
That's right.
It's a good spot. Good little trip.
Did you get some good dining? Did you go to the little German brew hall place? That place is kind of cool.
Hoffa House?
Yeah, Hoffa House.
We did not hit the Hofbräu House. We hit Korean Riverside, which is like 5 blocks off. It's one of my favorite restaurants up there, and there's not a real good Korean restaurant, I don't think, in Louisville. This is one that is a place that I went a lot when I was living up in Covington. So anytime I'm up there, I try to get back by.
Nice,
cool.
So just to be clear, we are now looking for a tiny Toto tugboat and a good Korean restaurant in Louisville. We're adding to the list.
Preferably on the water, so we can pull the tugboat up it's Korean Riverside, but it's not Riverside. It's 5 blocks off the river. I got to talk.
Korean close to the river.
Another day of this, and everything's going to be Riverside.
That's true. True.
Yeah.
Ain't no views and no vistas. Ain't no vistas, no views.
Well, we haven't been traveling much. We did a little day trip up to Lexington last weekend. Checked out the Louisville women's soccer team. They played against UK. Unfortunately, they didn't come home with the W this time, but they played their hearts out. It was a solid game. And then we swung by Joe B's to pick up a little pizza and the breadsticks. I don't know if you guys have had these, but they are phenomenal. It's
Joe B. Hall.
No, Joe Bologna's. Joe Bologna's. It's in an old church. You know when Trey.
Oh yeah.
I have been there. That's good.
I've been there. Yep. I have been there too. I forgot that's what the name of the place was called. But yep, been there.
Cool. Well, I did. I was able to escape. I took my family down. My son is a high school baseball player. We made our way down to Vero Beach, and you file this in the category of kids have no idea how good they have it. He played in the he went down there. His entire high school team went down there, and it's this facility is incredible. It's the Jackie Robinson facility. It's where the Dodgers used to play their spring training games, and now they open it up for school teams. They come in, they get to stay on campus with their team, and then they wake up in the morning, they go take BP, they get practice, and they play a couple of games here or there. So it was a phenomenal trip. Got to see my son play about 8 baseball games. He hit the ball well. That's always fun.
Hell yeah.
And we had a good trip.
What city was it?
It's in Vero Beach.
And I'm assuming with the name Beach that it is on the beach. There is a beach.
Well, yeah. I mean, the city is Vero Beach. The facility is like 30 minutes from the beach, maybe. It's south of Orlando. So the people that flew into Orlando and drove south. But my son played games in like a 6,000 seat arena. Now it was just parents in there watching them, but it was a really neat experience. And man, I don't think I got to play in places like that when I was a kid.
Awesome. My family didn't hardly even go on vacations. So like, now everybody's like, well, what are we doing this year? I'm like, hey bud, like relax. Like, it's not a requirement that you get a vacation and we do all this stuff every year. Like I remember like looking back at when I was younger, I'm like, oh yeah, we did this once. And the rest of the time it was like, hey, this is summertime and you just were happy not to be in school, but we didn't.
Cotton. I don't get it. Like,
I didn't have the funds to do all this stuff.
Families now that do like they do spring break and they do fall break and they do the extra break and this and that. I don't know how these families do all these vacations.
But and to y'all's point also,
not us.
How do you do? Well, I just mean like the the folks that have all these kids that are travel ball players. And then they're like, oh, we're going to Kansas City. Now we're off to Florida. Now we're in New York. And I'm like, how the hell do y'all like, buddy, we're, now we did it too, but Will played soccer travel ball, but ours were mainly all Cincinnati, Indy, Nashville, but still, I'm like, geez Louise.
Well, the cool thing about this trip, this is his school team.
That's badass.
And we played, other. Now the funny thing too is you go all the way down there and you end up playing teams from Kentucky, but but the boys, the weather was a lot better. It was in the mid 80s, and boy, no complaints there.
Hell yeah, I need some warm weather.
Any good food in Vero Beach?
You know what? I had this fantastic pizza, and they actually brought it to my house. I think it was like Papa John's maybe or something. No, no, we didn't get to do too much. We were at the ballpark most of the time, so it wasn't quite the vacation part of this. It was really, it was a business trip for the fellas. So,
did they handle business?
They did. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But there's no hardware. You don't come home with hardware on this trip. This is
not for this one. It's not a tournament. I mean, most of the travel stuff you do they're all tournaments, and you walk away with rings and stuff like that. But for this, they just went down. And I think the coach just schedules games, and so my son's a sophomore, so he plays varsity and JV, so he got to play 2 schedules.
Sweet.
So he had plenty of games, but that was just individual games against teams.
They don the same uniform, or is he got to take is he Superman? He's got to step to a phone booth and put on
the ladder,
new stirrups, new jersey.
Yeah, the ladder. Yeah. So he had like 2 suitcases of stuff coming down there. Yeah.
Oh, that's always good to have the 3 days of ball team or uniform hanging out in the hotel or the house. You gotta smell like, go wash your socks, bro. Like you can't have it
for this.
I'm sure that was right.
Even worse for them because the kids stayed on campus. So he was staying with 3 of his teammates. So imagine those rooms. Oh my God.
Oh, well, that is real good for you and Shane. Yeah, no worries. I don't care what he has to live in. I just don't want to live in it. So yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's good. Oh, so they just chilled with all their people, and then you and Shane or whomever went.
Yeah, I mean they've got full service hotel. I mean it's owned by the facility, but it's all part of there's 4 or 5 fields down there, and all the lodging is right on campus. And they've got meals where they wake up, and they got meals waiting for them and everything. It's a really cool deal for a high school kid to go down and be able to play baseball.
Well, hell yeah.
Very cool.
Well, cool. Anybody else got anything you want to last chime? Any other cool things happen this week?
Well, I just wrapped up. I didn't realize I was in training, but apparently I was in fact in training for the All Valley Karate Tournament.
Oh.
Mr. Miyagi had me doing paint the room.
Sweet the lick.
So we redid Gunner's room and finally got everything squared away, but we did baseboards and walls and ceilings, and I don't really know what my move is going to be called. I'm kind of excited about it, but given the shape I'm in, I'm guessing it's going to be called the sitting duck.
Oh. Baseboards ain't good for for people I'm not saying we're old, but we're not as limber as we used to be. And doing baseboards doesn't sound very fun to be on your hands and knees all day.
Hands and knees. At one point, I was trying to lay on my side, but then the shoulders were hurting. I kept waiting for him to come in and do that move where he slaps his hands together, rubs them, makes them real hot, and then, fixes everything.
That sounds like a job that needs to be outsourced.
Yeah. For future reference, for sure.
Did your lady friend come in and tell you that your karate was a joke?
No. Should she have? Should she have?
I guess to be continued.
Yeah. I feel like she and I are cross all of a sudden. I didn't even know it. Did she tell you my karate's a joke?
No, just a quote from the movie. Your karate is a joke.
There's a new one coming out, by the way. I just saw the preview for it today. Karate Kid Legends with Jackie Chan.
Huh. They got the whole IP. Yeah. They got the TV show. They got all the stuff.
Yeah, they're going to run it all back.
And with the real people. Or as many real people are still around?
Daniel LaRusso or Ralph Macchio is still in it. That's the only one that I recognized.
All right. Well, I hate when I get busted on TV when they say it's like Karate Kid. I'm like, oh, I'll watch that. I ain't got nothing to watch. And I turn it over and it's the other Karate Kid movie. I'm like, that's not the Karate. What is this? I hate the remakes. Like, don't quit messing with remakes. You don't remake Red Dawn. You don't remake
Point Break.
Point Break. You know, there's no need to. Oh, it drives me nuts. Just go make your own movie. That movie.
You guys are so mad, so angry.
Great movies. Well, cool, man. Yeah, well, we had a little fun last night too as a wrap up for our staycation. We had some folks over to celebrate the bride's birthday. She had a birthday yesterday, so we had some folks out to the house and watched Final Four ball games. I smoked a big old pork shoulder that was awesome. So turned out fantastic. And so yeah, it's a decent little staycation. We had to pivot from with all this rain in town, but.
Is that a big so bear with me. I don't have a smoker. So is that a like a 12-hour deal? Were you up at 3 a.m. to get everything going?
100%. 100%. It wasn't it was a 14-pound pork shoulder that I did the yellow mustard binder, and then I did some of my favorite spices on it and let that marinate for just let it sit in the refrigerator for about 6-8 hours, and then I started it the night before at 9:45 at night, and then it went all night long. I got up at 3:30, checked my water, make sure I got the water in the smoker, and it was all good. Went back to bed, got back up at 6, and then I didn't actually pull it. A meat will only accept smoke up until about 165 degrees. There's no need to keep it in the smoker past 165 degrees for those that don't know smoking. So once I got to 165, I pulled it, brought it inside, wrapped it in tinfoil, put it in the oven, because then all you got to do is get it to internal temp. So the internal temp had to get to 195. And so it took till 2:00 in the afternoon before it finally hit the temp. But dude, it was killer. Then you got to let it sit. You know, you got to let it sit after you get it out of the oven, let the meat relax, get the juices start flowing again, and so about 45 minutes later, then you can finally open it all up, see how it turned out. But it turned out great. Crushed it, man. It was delicious.
Of course you did.
I have to ask, tangential to previous episodes, how did it compare against Texas?
And I'm not like my favorite meat, which we've said before, is brisket. So this was actually one of my first runs at doing the smoked shoulder, but it was great, freaking delicious. And it had the burnt outside, like like you want on a brisket. Oh, it was fantastic. Turned out great. Got high fives from all the dudes and accompanying people that all enjoy barbecue. So yeah.
So good Craig, stuff. When you say your favorite spices, can you give us a couple, or is that like I'm not sharing? This
time I used Jimbo's sweet and spicy. I don't even know where I found that barbecue or that spice, but this time it was Jimbo's sweet and spicy. But that's a big deal when I go down to Texas, because I love HEB down there, and their spice aisle is awesome. So when I go to HEB, I'm always going down there, and I come home with 2 or 3 or Buc-ee's. They have great spices in Buc-ee's. And so I'll go pick out 2 or 3 new spices and then bring them home and then test them out as the year goes on whatever we're smoking around or barbecuing at the house. So yeah, I don't know where I found Jimbo's, but that's what I use this time.
Awesome.
No need for barbecue sauce. It was delicious. It was delicious on its own. All right, fellas. Well, let's transition here. So this reflective on what we did on traveling this past week had us thinking, and I thought maybe we'd just throw it out there and everybody could say, being that we all travel for work and we're always going somewhere doing whatever, give me a city that when you're in a certain part of the country, you're just excited, like, oh, I'm near this city. And, like, throw that city out to us. Where do we need to go check out that Sherman likes to pop into? And, get a bite to eat, check out for a day or so, and then you're just pumped that, hey, work is making me go this way, but I'm excited because I get to go to this city. Where's that at, my man?
I've got a couple. One I'm going to share. The one I want to share with you, though, is Columbus, Indiana. So it's not too far of a drive. Is north, jumping on 65 if you haven't been. And the reason I like it goes back to, I know you guys kind of know my I guess affinity. I don't know what word to use, but I like architecture and art.
Well,
in Columbus, Indiana. This is maybe 20 years ago. I'm gonna get some of these facts wrong. That's okay. We're making it up as we go along. But it was ranked as one of the top most influential architecture cities in the United States. And the reason being is a very interesting story. Back in the 50s, a gentleman named J. Irwin Miller was who was born in Columbus, but was running Cummins Corporation, manufacturing, just big operation. And the city started coming to them. They wanted to build a library. They wanted to build a school. They wanted to donate things and have it come through. Well, he at the time, and he had married his wife was a teacher, professor, and he said, "Okay, we'll finance it, but we get to pick the architect to build the building." So they brought in people from all over the world to design these buildings. So if you go, there's an actual tour. Ended up like something like 14 to 16 buildings that they built through the Cummins Foundation. And just huge names within the architecture world. So nerding out a little bit, but I love it. It's a walkable city. It's a very small town. They're actually going through the same thing we're kind of going through right now with the flooding and everything. But it's one of my favorite spots. There's a couple good little restaurants that you can kind of go, but I really don't go for that's one of the ones that I'm not jumping up and down trying to find the food. So I think that'll be on my list next time to get in and try to catch that.
I feel like there's like a ice cream parlor or something downtown that I've been to right there, like across the street, maybe from, don't they have like a children's museum or something? It's
they
free
do
for the community. And then you go across the street and hit up the ice cream parlor. That's
what
I
remember. I do remember the ice cream. I do remember the ice cream. That's right.
And a bike shop. There's a bike shop right there, right across from that ice cream parlor too. Yeah, that downtown's awesome. My dad was an architect, and he used to love going to Columbus, Indiana. That's a cool downtown. They got the great park there too with the lookout tower. You can go climb. Me and Will had a soccer tournament there back in the day, and we went to the park between games, and they got that big old lookout tower that you can look over the whole park. That's a great city. That's a beautiful city. I love Columbus, Indiana.
It's a good stop. It's not too far. It's halfway to Indianapolis. So if you're from Louisville anyway, if you're going up, it's a good little place to pull over and hang out for a little while.
You know you're there when you hit the red bridge.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that like the gateway to the Midwest? Like, what is that? Is that a replica of the St. Louis Arch?
Like maybe a mix between the Golden Gate Bridge and the St. Louis Arch. Like it's a combination.
It might be.
I feel like there's a story there. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I do feel like they tried to replicate something.
Yeah, go east, you're in Columbus. Go west, you're in Brown County, Indiana, or Nashville, Indiana, and cool little town too of its own accord. Another 20 minutes off the freeway. Cool area altogether. You had a 2 too. You had a number 2 or a second.
Paducah. If I'm traveling, we've talked about it before. I mean, it's one of my places that I like. Just the downtown of what all they've done, kind of build that up. There's a walkway, breezeway along the river. It's just a beautiful little city, Western Kentucky in the Purchase area. And we've mentioned the barbecue down that way as well. Starnes Barbecue is one of my favorite spots. So mentioned before on a different episode.
Kentucky Lake.
All West Kentucky is just, spent a lot of time down there on Campaign Trail, so I'm very comfortable down that way.
Is that where we have the pro green bean conversation?
Pro Green Bean was in Madisonville, which is the best town on earth, by the way. It says it on the sign.
Oh, so, really?
Well, you say it and it becomes true.
I'm always curious about those places. Yeah,
you can't say it. You can't say it if it's not true.
That's right.
That's right.
Southern Hang, best podcast out there.
That's right. Of course, I will say in Ohio County, Beaver Dam, I think it's Beaver Dam. It is home to 2,000 great citizens and 3 soreheads. I don't know what that means, but whole nother podcast. We'll have to get the mayor of Beaver Dam on to explain that one.
It sounds like you need to start taking pictures of these signs and send them to us so we get the jokes.
Do you think they vote on that, or you think it's just understood who the 3?
I think the 2,000
cranky people.
I think the 2,000 people get to choose kind of what that is and who that is.
Is a sorehead? I assume that's a bad thing. Is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? I don't.
It depends on if you're the 2,000 or the 3, I guess. But it's I think it probably depends on what you're sore about.
All right, 3 soreheads. We're gonna have to look into that one. New studies while driving. We're gonna have to look at signage and pick up what people are trying to teach us while we're driving by. I'm in.
Town slogans.
Well, where's the world taking you these days, Red? Or what do you got for us, my man?
Well, I'm gonna stay with Indiana.
All right.
I'm gonna go Madison, Indiana. So I've only been there once. Allison and I went up for I think it might have been New Year's Eve.
Come on!
It still had all the Christmas.
This whole trip starting off with hand holding and kisses. Of course, you like this place. What did,
It's got a special place in my heart out of the gate. But it was. Well, here's what I'm trying to figure out. Like it was a cool scene, right? Like it still had all the Christmas decorations up, right? And they're playing all the Christmas carols, and people are walking down the sidewalks, and it was a pretty cool little deal. And, they've got some hiking trails there right around the corner. I would like to go back during the busy season because what I keep telling her is I think the entire town of Madison is just laundering money because there's no way all these stores are open with no customers.
It's like the Ozarks, huh?
Uh-huh.
I don't even think it's that busy during the holidays. Like we went to the winery, we were like 2 of 3 people there. We walked down, all these little antique shops and all these shops on the main strip. The lights are on. We'd go inside and they'd be like, "Hey, good evening." Look around. I was like, "Where's everybody else at?"
How many people are working in the winery when you go in? When there's 2 or 3 people coming in, how many people are working?
I think they. I want to say 1 because the server looked like her feet were stained from stepping on the grapes. So I think she's pulling double duty. I think she's making the wine in the back and then coming out to see what we want to drink. So it was it was a super cool town, and I've heard great things about it during the summertime. And I think there's like a regatta maybe and a couple other things going on up there.
Well, I was going to say, so maybe they have a sign that doesn't have the 2,000, just the 3 soreheads.
Quite possible.
Except they're not soreheads. That's where it's good. That's where it's a good thing.
That's right.
Yeah, that place is probably having some issues right now with the Ohio River too. So with all the flooding, but yeah, that's got the bigger regatta. They have music festivals. There's a couple of things I look up every year for Madison. Like, we got to go. I've never spent a whole weekend in town, but I've driven through there and we've hung out. But that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I'd put it on the list. Like I say, I think summertime is probably the time to go, unless you want to walk down the streets by yourself.
Got it. Well, hey, I also goofed up though. We goofed up on, and I guess there's no particular order here, but part of the project was that we wanted everybody to throw out a song, and that has some form of tie, not to the specific city you're talking about, but just a song that we can add to the playlist that talks about a small town. And I think we skipped over. We never got Sherm to throw out his song. So you want to go reflective back to the songs, and then we'll move over to Neil and myself on our towns.
I will. So my song is the first time that I'm bringing in my favorite band. It's Pearl Jam, and the request for the conversation was around a small town, and one of their biggest hits, favorite songs, Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town.
Longest title in the Pearl Jam category.
That's exactly right. I contemplated giving it that. It's a Eddie Vedder quote as he's delivering it or introducing the song.
That's the fact.
One of my favorite songs that gets played in concert, gets played live, and I will find a live version that I want to give us to put on the playlist. so it won't come directly from the Versus album, but we'll get you a live version, Craig, because it's a jam.
Breakfast table in an otherwise empty room. It's Madison.
Man, that's freaking great.
Bringing it all together.
All together.
And that's an actual fact about that being the longest title in the Pearl Jam category in the catalog.
Longest he says song. It, and I can't longest song title. I can't think of another one that would have that many.
Yeah. I think we can go with it. I think it's a safe assumption. And plus,
Hey Foxy, My Pando Mama. That's the only other one I got. But that's not a song anybody knows.
It's longer than Bugs.
It is longer than Bugs, or You,
or Black.
We can just keep going, but we're not gonna. That would be a whole nother podcast that we need to just veer off on.
Just so we're clear, like, do you guys like Pearl Jam?
A little bit.
So what's the stats on the amount of shows you've seen now, Sharon?
14.
14 Pearl Jam?
Not a crazy number. There are people that
I thought it was more than that.
No, yeah. 14. And the majority of those have been in the last 10 years, 8 years.
Right.
I think I've seen them 4 times, but it's been a long time since I've seen them. I saw them in Louisville Gardens back when they were just getting going. Mm-hmm. I saw them open up a Lollapalooza. Actually, I've seen them 5 times now. I won't go through all of them, but great live band. And yes, absolutely love Pearl Jam. How dare you even ask, Redmond?
I know. I'm trying to set you up.
Neil, who did they play with at the Louisville Gardens?
King's X. Open for
That's them. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was the Versus tour. In fact, it was like a couple of weeks before Cobain was found dead. And he reflected on that quite a bit after, like his shows changed dramatically after that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to show my musical ignorance. What is King's X up to these days?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Interesting.
Red, give us a song. Give us a song, buddy.
All right. So my song does not list, I don't think, a specific town, but I'm going to go with, you might call this pop country. I don't know. Kenny Chesney.
Okay. Back
Where I Come From. Seen him in concert a couple times, Papa John's, and
he puts on a show.
I guess probably Freedom Hall, but big fan of it when they play it live. And he's got the big jumbotron showing all the local vibe and local scene, so it makes me think about home.
Dig it.
Yeah, man.
No Shoes Radio. I like some No Shoes. I like some No Shoes Radio. That's an easy station to click on. When we're on Rowboat, buddy. I put on No Shoes Radio and float in the water all summer long with a drink in the hand. It's great.
You're gonna have to get a different channel for Tiny Tugboat, so start prepping.
And a name. Yeah, well, we're working on it. I gotta find the boat. I gotta find the sandbox, and then I can work on the rest.
I don't think you find it, Craig. I think it finds you. Oh. That's how you know. That's how you know it's yours.
Mm-hmm. It's coming. We're putting it out there. It's coming.
Well, Cotton, you want me to talk about my small town? So we've kind of stayed in the Midwest. I'm going to go further west. So in 1999, after spending my entire life in Louisville, Kentucky, my wife and I, actually we were engaged at the time, moved to Texas. We moved to San Antonio. And my whole territory, my territory was the whole state of Texas. So we could have lived anywhere we wanted. Most people would have, if you're, trying to be responsible, covering a territory, be Houston or Dallas. But I wanted to be in San Antonio, and that's where we settled. Partly because San Antonio is it's a huge city, but I feel like it's got a small town feel. And it's got a small town feel because it's got like some of the coolest small towns surrounding it all over. Like west of San Antonio, you've got cool small towns. And then also in between San Antonio and Austin, each exit is its own unique small town with its own culture. And each one of these towns has got, most of them have a river you can float. And by floating the river, that's tubing. That's just sitting in a tube all day. I think we talked about it a little bit when Redmond was reminiscing about a turkey leg. But and then they all have their own dance hall where they have local concerts. And so for me, man, I moved to Texas and I just fell in love because you could just go to one of these small towns, float the river all day, get out of the, and then go get a great dinner at like a local dive, and then catch a kick-ass show at night. And some of these places are awesome. Like, I mentioned like, all those towns in between San Antonio and Austin. My favorite town is a town called Greene. And I looked it up. There's a total of, the last time they did a census, there's 87 people live in Greene. So that's small town for you. But it's also home to, first off, it's home to the grist mill, which is one of the, it's like an old mill that they've turned into a great restaurant. So you can go, and the Guadalupe flows right past it. But the biggest landmark in that town, probably all 87 people work there, is Green Hall, which is the favorite place I've ever been to see a concert. And the music scene there in Texas was awesome. I used to go see bands like Reckless Kelly and Cross Canadian Ragweed. By the way, Cross Canadian Ragweed's having a revival, man. They sold out. Like, I thought they were done a long time ago. They just sold out like Oklahoma State's football field. They got like 50,000 people coming out to see them. I saw them in this little place called at Green Hall. But I used to, all the Texas legends went there. Willie played there, all of them.
Oldest dance hall in Texas.
Oldest dance hall in Texas. And I know, our listeners can't see, but I got my Green Hall hat on that I've kept since then. There is nothing like walking into that place. And, you walk in and it's just a bunch of picnic tables and a stage and a bar selling Lone Star beer or Lone Star Light.
The old wood tongue and groove floor.
Oh, dude,
yeah,
nothing.
Man. They got to get on stage. You got to go through the Willie window. There's not even a
back
door. You got to go up these stairs through a window.
Yeah,
that is called the Willie's window to get on stage, and that's how you get on. So you don't have to cut through the crowd. Hell yeah!
So how far is Greene outside of San Antonio?
Well, the bigger town right there by Greene is New Braunfels, and that actually used to be kind of a small town, but now it's much bigger. It's about 30 minutes outside of San Antonio, about a third of the way to Austin.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I've got some issue here. I mean, New Braunfels, I feel like, is the town. Like saying Greene is like saying St. Matthews. I feel like it's St. Matthews of New Braunfels.
Take issue.
And New Braunfels is a small town.
Take issue with those 87 people that live with a Greene address, my man.
Is there a mayor in Greene? Because that would make it a city.
I don't know. It's got a Wikipedia page.
Hey, and for the listeners there, Neil. Because obviously I'm from Texas and I hung out in Greene and a bunch of times. But for our listeners that have never been there and they're trying to look up Greene on a map, you can't be spelling it Green, right? No, how do you spell that city?
It's what Gruene.
Yeah, it looks like Gruen.
Yeah,
it looks like Gruen. Then people are like, "Wait a minute, that's the place you were talking about?" You're like, yes, that's Greene.
It's awesome,
but it's Gruen. Yeah, it looks like Gruen when you're looking it up on paper. But
it's the coolest place in America. I love it. And I want to just add a song real quick because I can't talk about Green Hall without adding a song. And so one of the people that I used to listen to was Charlie Robison and his brother Bruce Robison. Now Bruce has gotten famous. Even more famous now because he's the manager of Charlie Crockett. He's the one that found Charlie Crockett. Anyway,
Davy's brother.
You need to do some homework on some Charlie Crockett.
We're not doing if you don't know Charlie Crockett. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so Bruce had a song called "Tonight," and it was from his album in 2001. And it's just a song about one of those nights where, like, when you're young and you got no idea what you're going to do, but you don't want to miss out because you just know something special is going to happen. And that's what this song is about. It's about us, just hanging with the fellas, but Finding a Special Night. But the version that I'm going to add to the playlist is a song where that Charlie recorded. And it's a live version actually recorded in Green Hall. And it's like a 10-minute version. It talks about small town and everything that we need to know. So I won't go into the story, but check it out.
10-minute version song for you sounds about right. So that's that works. That makes total sense to me.
Charlotte? Sounds to me like that song's about FOMO.
Yeah.
It absolutely is about FOMO.
Yeah.
Cotton, where you taking?
Got it down here. Yep. Greenville, South Carolina. I get to travel that area. I love South Carolina. And Greenville is a beautiful city. So their downtown is just really cool. There's one of the main roads that you walk down, kind of cobblestone feel with restaurants and bars and shops. And it's on the Reedy River. They have a falls that's right there. And then there's a minor league baseball team right downtown. And the Greenville Drive, they're a minor league of the Red Sox. But man, that's just a killer town. And then there's just multiple state parks right around that area. So if you want to go for a hike, you can go to multiple different state parks and hang out in that area. But yeah, no, Greenville, South Carolina is my city that I get excited about. And then obviously we all travel. So my song, which is kind of once we're all turning around, we're coming home. I chose Amos Lee, Louisville. So coming back to Louisville, and it's a great song by Amos Lee, and that's basically what we're doing while we're all out on the road is getting excited about turning around and coming home. So that's my song and city that I chose. Obviously, we all get to go all over the place, so lots of cool cities out there. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, I think we did good this week, fellas. It's glad to be back in the saddle and get to talk to y'all. It's been a little bit, but we're hard on the numbers this week that we got to cut short. So let's say goodbye and be excited about our next show that we'll see everybody here in another week.
Let's do it again in a week.
Let's do it, fellas.
Sounds good, fellas.
Be good. Nice talking to you.
Pit snoggle.
We'll be good at it.